Welcome back. This is Module 5 of Solution Focused Trifecta, a guide to being solution focused. I'm Joe George. Let's start building. So far, what's worked for you? You've done 4 of these other modules. You've done 27 pages in your workbook. What things are helping you put all this together? Take a second and look back at the first 27 pages of that workbook. Skim through it. What are some of the good things that you've come to start utilizing? What are things that have helped you do it? What kind of situation or reminders have you given yourself? What things have you become pretty good at? And what things do you want to work on a little bit more to springboard forward so you can help more people? Take a note of it. Maybe highlight them or star them. Come back to them. You're going to want them. So just as a review before we launch into everything, Solution Focused Trifecta, 3 tenets, 3 skills, 3 segments. Learn it, live it, love it. And you put them all together to help you utilize solution focused language, focusing on the person in front of you, nothing else. And to do that, you have to get out of your own way first. That's what the self-check is for. That's why you put on your halo. So you can utilize solution-focused looking and solution-focused listening to help the person build what they want. Today, we're going to review what works and explore what's next. After we review some of the key segments, key techniques, such as DAP 360. You've been doing this a lot in all of the segments, specifically while you look at the second half of what's wanted with the preferred future, the what works, and the what's next. Getting specific descriptions of if they say something, what happened for that? What did that look like? How did it happen? The actions, have them explain who was doing what, when, where, how. And then the people, the key stakeholders. It could be somebody who witnesses them do it, or would be the first to identify it. And then get them to say how, stepping outside of their situation to look holistically at themselves and whatever the situation at hand happens to be. Scaling. You're probably doing this in all sorts of different ways. I mostly use numbers because I work with mostly adolescents and adults, and numbers on a 1 to 10 scale to me is just a quick and easy way to help them develop a quick picture of where they are and what they want. And the younger the kids, like my son is in grade 3, he's much better with the smiley face line. And again, whatever is selected doesn't matter so much. It's specifically what does the thing selected mean or represent to the person you're talking to. The image, the number, whatever, doesn't matter. It's the description that does. Help them build it. And for today, just a review of what works. When we did this last time, on page 14 of your workbook, I gave you some specific examples of ways you can leapfrog into it, just so you can help them explore the good stuff, so they know what's helping them maintain. When you do it within the solution-focused trifecta, however, it actually flows a lot easier because they're already starting to create the images for themselves. So to segue from the preferred future, which is the second half of what's wanted, looking at life after the challenge has been overcome, if you could select 3 to 5 of the things they said for their 10. And then say, okay, so if that's your 10, and 1 is just the other end, where are you now? And whatever number they say, specifically if it's like a 2, 3, or 4, if it's anything other than a 1, basically, you could say, wow, you're already at a 3. What are you doing to help you be there and not one step lower? Or if they start talking about how things are so painful, or it was even worse last week, validate. Say, wow, that does sound tough. How are you doing it? how are you here now? And even if nothing has gone well and they're just fixated on the negative, they got themselves to you. How did they do that? They walked through the door. How did they do that? They got out of the room to you without destroying anything. How did they do that? You helped them find a success that helped them get to you, and then you can explore, helping them identify. And even if they say, well, things were so much better before, you could ask them, well, what was different then? And help them create the image that they wanted of that. That's looking at a different phase of what works. It could be something, but it has to be something recent. Or if they were worse a week ago, and say, well, what's different now? And then help them identify, even if they're low on the scale, they're identifying a success that they have done that you can then extrapolate to other areas of their lives. When you segue over to to what's next, I like to do a modification of the tomorrow question, where I'll just point out a couple of the successes, a couple of the things that I find poignant from what works that they identified using their words, saying, okay, well, you've done this, this, and this, and you're just ready. Look at that. See how hard that is? You're ready to go to the next step. So tomorrow when you wake up, what'll be the first signs that you moved up overnight, that you're one step higher? And then you just help them build it. For some people, specifically if you're working with a client that you find shows major deficits, or you just don't know, which is probably actually where you are, you could do a modification that I took from Ben Furman and Arnold Hybers, that when you say that they wake up tomorrow, you say, you have one new skill that helps you do all this. What's that skill? And then if they say, well, I don't know, say, well, I don't know either. It's your skill when you wake up after this, because you're obviously on your way towards your 10. Then you can identify a couple of things from the preferred future and a couple of things from the what works segment. What skill is that going to be? I only do this if I'm working with an adolescent that has great intentions and poor follow-through. And that could be with executive functioning. It could be with limbic control, be it emotional outbursts, anxiety, anger, whatever. But most of the time, I'll just do the tomorrow and then go to the first small signs, have them scale it, remind them that we're within the scale, and get clear descriptions, lists, build it together. The conclusion is one thing that actually a lot of solution-focused practitioners differ greatly on. And like back in the day, they actually used to give therapist-designed lessons, homework assignments. And then other people have gone away from that completely. I look at it as, I'm not going to point out tons and tons of things that they're doing and compliment them, because I've already done that a little bit in the preferred future and in the what works. But I will ask them, what have they noticed about themselves? And usually, and then you elicit compliments from them about themselves. It's more powerful when it's their own reflections. Then you just ask for, is there anything that you really want to remember from this? And they might give themselves a homework assignment. If they do, fine, don't make a big deal about it. And then just tell them, look for signs that things are going well, and ask them if they want to meet again. Almost to the last segment. All you have to do is go pass that quiz, do some practice, build, and hop into Module 6 where we'll bring it all together. In the meantime, keep trying to do some good and do it well. I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.